To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Listen up, people. We got a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take too much of your time. You know our show is supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to ESPNpodcaststudy.com and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. No more. Again, that's ESPNpodcaststudy.com. We are off and running on a Thursday. Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. I have to say, Cliff did a great job there blending the music in with the roar of the crowd. I wasn't sure when the roar of the crowd stopped and the music started.
Yeah. Well, he's
nicely
pro.
done.
Pro. Does that well.
He gave me like, why are you talking to me like that?
Yeah, he's like, it's something I do every day. I'm used to being this great.
Exactly. He's a pro in the know. He goes with Lowe's.
You don't acknowledge my greatness every day, or don't do it today. Basically is what he did. Thanks, Cliff. We appreciate
Thank you very much.
Fine. Oh,
nice,
now you
Cliff.
get the apology.
Thanks.
Now it's like Phil Mickelson. I don't want it now. I don't want it now.
There you go.
Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here with you. We finally got Phil Mickelson to apologize.
We did.
We wore him down. And it's fine.
Listen.
I, for one, feel way better now.
We're going to talk yet again about another athlete and an apology for something. This obviously not the apology we've heard in the past for what some of the transgressions that have happened. This
in the sport of golf,
for on the green of at a tournament. But we'll certainly get into it.
Yep.
More World Cup. We'll have an update of the scores.
Yep.
That are going on. More big games today for the staff and for you and me and Junior and our teams. Our snake draft. Who's winning? Who's losing? The NBA draft tonight. We're leaving for Pinehurst after the show today.
We played a little golf yesterday.
For our leadership retreat. Our winners were already there posting. There you go. Leadership retreat. Our winners are already posting their pictures. They're down in Pinehurst. This is going to be awesome.
How are they down there already and we're here?
I know. That's exactly
How does that work? This is our thing.
Isn't that the truth?
It's our idea.
They're already
there, and we're still here.
Unbelievable.
Seriously.
So yesterday we got a little practice round in. Mike and myself and Mike Periano were out golfing. Trey, you
is
were
that
there.
the father of the
father of Alex
world-renowned Alex Periano?
Unfortunately, Alex was not able to join us as he was working. But and then you jumped in with us. So we got a good little practice round in.
Taste.
You know what? You hit the ball really well.
Oh, that's very nice.
Now, again, you play every day, so you should.
Correct.
Okay.
I have no excuse if I don't.
You have the smoothest, easiest swing.
Ernie Els, baby.
And it goes very down the straight pretty well.
Yeah.
You do a nice job.
Okay. Well, I did get that one on video of you that you absolutely crushed.
Yeah. Good timing. That's all you need is timing. We're playing a scramble this weekend. Yeah. That's all we need. Timely shots.
Best ball, baby.
When the lights shone brightly, I came through there, unlike Devin in the first round of the world record attempt.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Devin
I'd like to see. Now, Devin, you said he was pretty good with the wedge.
I'd
like to see him with the rest of the bag.
Yeah.
Devin, where are you? Is it just your wedge game that's strong, or is it everything?
I mean, put up half your paycheck and you can find out.
Hey, now. I think I set a bad precedent.
Ring the bell.
Well, let me just say, after watching you in the challenge, I accept.
Yeah.
Okay. Secure that bag, Devin.
Yes,
Stay
there
Wingo.
we go.
Let's go. All right. So we got a lot to get to.
Yeah,
Let's start it like we always do, sometimes occasionally with what's trending. Okay. 2018 NBA Draft tonight, 7 on ESPN, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. And the Suns are set to pick number 1 overall for the first time in franchise history, and it feels like DeAndre Ayton's going to be that guy.
Yeah, it does feel like that. It feels like, Doncic was always talked about at 2, but Sacramento could be Marvin Bagley III looking there. So would Atlanta get Doncic? We'll see. Some notes here. The 76ers, they have the most picks of any team. They have 6-4 in the second round. The Hawks do have 3 first-round picks. Clippers are the only team. They have 2 lottery picks with 12 and 13, and you do have the Thunder, the Pistons, the Rockets, Pelicans, Heat, and Raptors with no first-round picks at all. So they'll sit around and do a little bit of watching unless there's some wheeling and dealing that is going on, which we know always happens. So it'll be interesting where that goes tonight.
Yeah, going to be very interesting. I think the one, and you mentioned the name with the most volatility up there is Luka Doncic, just because we've heard him rumored with such a range of these teams based on what he offers. I know Mina Kimes, ESPN The Magazine senior writer, going to join you guys at 9:30 today. Wrote the article on Luka Doncic, got to spend some time with him, so certainly could offer some insight as to what NBA teams are going to get with this player. It's just a matter of who decides to take that leap, because we've got all these big, long, athletic bodies that we're not sure how they fit into this version of the NBA right now or how they can make themselves fit, he's a very easy one to project.
Trey, we know Luke is going to be near the top, though, even if it's a couple. Trey Young seems to be the guy who, all of a sudden, the latest I saw, he was out of the top 10, maybe at number 12.
I'll be shocked if that happens, right?
I would as well. You know, they're saying kind of the first guy of the Steph Curry mold, you know, that just that pure shooter like that from what he did in college as a freshman. But he seems to be the, I guess the word volatile one of how high could he go and where could he drop to. That's the one I think to keep an eye on to see if he goes down the board a little bit.
Well, it is interesting, especially when we'll play some sound from Jay Billis and the actual person he's comparing him to. And remember, the person he's comparing him to was 2 years older than him when he went into the draft. Mm-hmm. So we'll get to what Jay had to say about him in a little bit. But I agree with you. The Trae Young thing is interesting if it's indeed going down the way they say it's going down right now. Meanwhile, with 2 outs and a runner on in the bottom of the ninth, Yankee slugger Giancarlo Stanton did it again, and the Yankees continue to win in dramatic fashion.
And the pitch. Driven deep to left center field. There it goes. Signature moment. See ya. A 2-run home run. A walk-off. And the Yankees win 7-5.
A huge comeback, as that was the call at the end of the game from Michael Kay and the Yes Network, and, of course, 98.7 ESPN New York.
And certainly the great numbers that go with it because it's baseball. Stanton's his 4th career walk-off home run, first since 2014. His walk-off came on an 0-2 count. He entered the game 3 of 26, which is a .115 batting average, with 1 home run and 18 strikeouts on an 0-2 count. Didn't let the 0-2 count go away here against a Seattle team that had the lead in this division, is battling Houston for it, and Seattle entered the game 30-4 when leading after the 7th inning. Didn't go so well this time around.
Yeah, I mean, they're going up against the comeback Yankees. This is what this team has done all season, which is come from behind and win in dramatic fashion like this. And we talked to Gordon Damer from 98.7 ESPN New York on First and Last this morning.
Gordo!
And he talked about, for Gary Sanchez, for Giancarlo Stanton, these guys that are starting to catch fire now, had intermittent starts to the season. It's been great. And for Stanton, it's an awesome moment for a guy that struggled and had to wear a lot of that in that New York market early on. But the consistency of Aaron Judge this season, and Aaron Boone talked before the year about what a battler at the plate this guy is and how he wants to really be competitive in every at-bat. He had an RBI double earlier in that game that really kind of started that trickle and that comeback that just kind of indicates what he's been to this team all year, which last year, after his up and downs, has been a steadying force, a guy they can really rely on.
And by the way, because you're resplendent in Yard Goats gear from head to toe, I'm really digging your baseball take even more. I mean, it nice. Seems more genuine if you're not watching.
Give the Yard Goats some love.
Yeah, no, listen, shout out to the Hartford Yard Goats, our local team right here. I want to make sure I get this right. AA ball team, the AA affiliate of the Colorado Rockies. And for the second straight year, these guys voted the number 1 AA ballpark in the country. Best ballpark for the second year in a row. They become the first minor league venue to win this prestigious award in consecutive years. Wow. Give it up for Dunkin' Donuts Park.
Well, you know what? It's a great park.
It is a great
park.
Really
is a great park.
You can play the sound all you want because you mentioned Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone, after the game, the manager of the Yankees, basically said it's living proof that not all home runs are equal with what Giancarlo Stanton did.
I don't know what it ended up being, but that ball was absolutely scalded. When you hit a line drive, that's a base hit to center for me. Giancarlo hits it and starts celebrating at home plate, knowing it's going to be off of something hard out beyond center field. He's just, he's a different animal.
All I could think of was Tommy Boy. I'm sorry about your car, but that was awesome.
That was a screamer.
Yes, it was. And Stanton's walk-off is what everybody's talking about. It's brought to you by Lowe's. Pros in the know. Start with Lowe's. Go to lowesforpros.com for details. And here's what everybody isn't talking about, and perhaps we should be talking about. Mike Trout will play in his 1,000th career game tonight against the Blue Jays. Not against the Blue Jays, his 1,000th career game. It happens to be against the Blue Jays.
There you go.
He has more home runs, walks, and WAR, our favorite stat.
Yeah, it is.
Our favorite baseball second stat. WAR, wins above replacement, in his first 1,000 career games than the all-time leader in those categories, and home runs, walks, and WAR. Barry Bonds had in his first 1,000 games.
I love the note from Jeff Passan of Yahoo. The Mike Troutest thing ever is he's on pace to having the single greatest season in baseball history. He hasn't won American League Player of the Week once this year or last year or in 2016. Last time he won was in July of 2015. Why? He's just that good every week, and the expectation is he's supposed to be that good, so he's not going to win that award. This dude is just quietly being playing as one of the great. Some are saying he has Hall of Fame numbers right now, but he hasn't played the 10 years that you need to be in the Hall of Fame. It's incredible what he's doing at this point.
Good for an on-base percentage right now in the last 8 games of 784. In the last 8 games, he has hit 696.
Is that good?
Reached base in 29 of 37 at-bats with 16 hits, 11 walks, a hit by pitch, and drew a catcher's interference during that span. This guy is basically unstoppable at the plate. You are going to struggle to keep this guy from getting on base one way or another. He's a machine. He's an absolute animal, and he's like, you know what we used to associate all the positive memories of Kawhi Leonard?
Yes.
When you just can't stop him, and he's just going to look you dead in the face. There's not going to be a ton of emotion, and he's just going to wear you out.
But
I only look at one stat when I look at Mike Trout. 3 games played in the playoff. Yes, exactly. He hasn't won one.
Okay,
so he's on 3.
Okay,
That's all I care.
Wow. All right.
That's right.
Rings, Trout.
Poppy from the Dan Levitard Show throwing out the rings argument for Mike Trout.
Hit him with a little rings plus minus.
how about that?
By the way, Junior, I felt like the catcher's interference really would have put him over the top.
Well, I think
that
so
one
as
thing
well.
would have put him over
Wait,
the top.
That's a Hall of Fame
He
credential.
got a catcher's interference? Wait a minute.
Now he's the player of the week.
There you go.
Now that he's got the catcher's interference, he's
Finally.
But he really is having maybe the greatest career, and no one talks about. The only time anybody talks about Mike Trout is when he shows up at an Eagles game, right? That's the only. Oh, look, there's Mike Trout. The only time anybody really talks about Mike Trout is when he shows up at a Philadelphia Eagles game, which is that may be the most Mike Troutist thing ever.
In the past week, he's gone 4 for 4, 4 for 5, 5 for 5, 2 for 4, 4 for 5, 4 for 5, 3 for 5.
Any catcher's interference in any of those?
Yeah, no, there was one catch
right, well,
interference.
there you go.
Just only one.
The one was a sacrifice fly, too, by the way, and this one 4 for 5.
If he'd gotten that other one, then we would have had him as player of the week.
I tell you, it's the difference.
You
0
do
for 3.
you do you, Mike Trout.
0 for 3 in the playoffs.
Do you. All right, we continue with what's trending, and ladies and gentlemen, let's get it going. Hey, World Cup 2018. With a 1-0 win over Saudi Arabia, Uruguay advanced to the knockout round for the 3rd consecutive World Cup, thanks to Luis Suarez, his 4th career game-winning goal in the World Cup, the most in Uruguay's history.
All right, so we love the results of all this and watching the games, but the only thing that really matters is the fact our snake draft, again, Trey has a team, I have a team, Mike and Devin have a team, and the staff has a team. We each have 8 teams. Yep. So Riley, you have the score right now, right? You have the updated score. Who's winning this? What do we got?
I do. I regret to inform you that you, Golic, are in last with 12 points.
I don't think you regret it at all. I think you're enjoying it.
You can turn your mic off and stop.
Okay.
Right now. All right, I have 12.
Staff,
No, keep
1
going.
point ahead of you at 13.
Yeah.
Who's that?
The staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trey has 15 points.
Yeah,
And
baby.
our
Stay
co-leaders, I
Wingo.
guess, are Mike Jr. and Devin.
What do they have?
Hey!
What do they have 15 as well?
They have 17.
They have 17. Oh, wow.
So here's what we
okay.
got going on today. I got a big win from Spain. Took them a while, but they finally beat Iran thanks to Diego Costa's 3rd goal of the World Cup. Here's what we got today: Denmark and Australia.
Right. So
I've got Australia.
Mike has Denmark. Mike and Devin have Denmark. You have Australia.
I'm not feeling good about Australia. Come
You
on,
shouldn't.
Aussies, let's
So,
go.
Mike leading, Mike and Devin, he can extend that. So the next game at 11 is France against Peru. I have France.
You have France.
And the staff has Peru. And then at 2 o'clock, it's Argentina, which is the staff against Croatia, which is Mike and Devin again.
So it's going to be it's a big day for
Yeah,
Junior.
you guys could really open it up here. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Croatia in this one, I don't believe.
I guess I don't know how you
could
can
be
have a
wrong.
lot of faith in Australia either. I mean, it was an island prison for a long time. You're really going to trust that group?
I have zero faith in Australia, but I have faith that I'm going to have a great time when I go there this summer.
Well, there you
that's
go.
the way I'm
there we
looking
go.
at it.
Fair enough.
That's
Watch
fair.
out for
Yeah.
the snakes.
Stay
There's a lot
Wingo.
of poisonous stuff there.
Well, actually, that is so true. The most poisonous kind of almost every animal in the world is in Australia.
It's because it was a prison. They sent you there to die.
Spiders, snakes, jellyfish.
Don't go walkabout.
No,
okay?
no. I'm staying I'm staying on beaten paths.
Okay.
I'm not going off the beaten path. If the road forks, I'm going where the cement
If it's
is.
beaten, you're
Beaten
going on.
paths
Yeah.
do look nice.
Exactly right. Oh, mercy. Hit it one more time. Everybody. Hey! And that's our World Cup update, ladies and gentlemen, in What's Trending. All right, Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Protecting your small business is kind of a big deal. Mm-hmm. Cover what you've worked so hard for. Visit progressivecommercial.com. So the World Cup is ongoing. Obviously, it's a huge thing. We just had the U.S. Open over the weekend. It was a very big thing. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have something else going on, the NBA draft. And the NBA draft is so much about the players that will be drafted and also about what happens to this guy.
From the beaches of L.A. to Houston, from Boston to the Bay, and to Cleveland. This is LeBron Watch.
So wrong.
And Cleveland.
So wrong.
So the question becomes, what is Cleveland going to do? Okay, they have the 8th overall pick, and as Brian Windhorst astutely pointed out, they're going to have to play their cards before they know the card that LeBron is going to play, whether or not he's actually going to stay or he's going to go somewhere else. And this is what the most recent headlines coming out of Cleveland from our Cavs reporter, Dave McMenamin, on what they're trying to do and not trying to do with one of the best players on the team.
They're heading into Thursday's draft with the intention of selecting a young playmaker that they will have on their team next year. And so that means that, of course, they're going to have their phone lines open for potential trade opportunities that come down the pike. But one thing I'm reporting today is that they are not actively shopping Kevin Love, and they are looking to add someone along the likes of a Colin Sexton or a Shea Alexander, perhaps Trae Young, Mikal Bridges, Kevin Knox. That's the kind of the group of players, the tier of players that the Cavs will be expecting to be available at number 8.
So those are the players they're expecting to look at.
And again, this latest mock draft has Shea Alexander being the guy at 8, the guard from Kentucky that they would take.
So if you're LeBron, you have your guy Kevin Love there. Oh. You have you and maybe a guy like Shea Alexander. You feeling good about
Well, no,
things?
I mean, listen, I don't think he's worrying about the draft, that any guy they draft is going to be, wow, okay, there's the difference maker at 8, so now I'm going to stay. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's about what other players can they bring in, guys that have actually played and proven themselves that can help them get back to the championship again. I don't think the draft has anything to do with whether LeBron's staying or not, in my opinion.
The draft, and in conjunction with what Dave McMenamin reported there, that the Cavs aren't actively shopping Kevin Love right now, leads me to the only logical conclusion that this is really just the Cavaliers shopping for whoever the LeBron James is going to leave Kevin Love with here. Through all of the cruelty that Kevin Love has suffered throughout his tenure as the Cleveland Cavaliers, basically being the whipping boy for every sort of problem that's come up, now he's going to finally get the credit he deserves by being left high and dry in a post-LeBron Cleveland with Colin Sexton.
Or Shea Alexander.
And the one thing, they say they're not shopping Kevin Love, but they have talked to San Antonio about Kawhi, so you can't tell me that Kevin Love wasn't talked about there.
Correct.
You may not be shopping him openly everywhere else, but I guarantee you, if San Antonio said that's one of the guys they want, you damn well better believe that they would be getting him so Cleveland could get Kawhi Leonard back. But I don't think anybody believes that Cleveland has enough to pull that trade off.
It feels like that conversation went like this. So that Kawhi guy, here he may be leaving. Have you met Kevin Love?
Yeah.
And the Spurs said, yes. And we're good.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of how that went down.
We've met him and all the other players that you have, and we're gonna look elsewhere, I believe.
Yeah, Dad, you said no one believes that would be enough. The Cavaliers are included in that bunch.
Exactly.
Dave reported that they reached out, and they believe the Spurs are going to be offered more robust packages. They don't believe that Kevin Love is a realistic guy.
The robust package.
A robust package, yeah. Those aren't normally words in conjunction with me.
Normally I hear that with the flavor of my coffee. It's robust.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or that sounds like an extra thing when you buy a card. You want the winter package or the robust
package? There you
go. That comes with the undercoating. So it seems like when it's all said and done, the Cavs are preparing for LeBron to leave, right?
I believe so,
sort
because
of feels that way at this
unless can they get? I heard Kemba Walker's name getting thrown out.
Kemba!
The thought was around the trade deadline of getting someone like him as well to run the offense, and I have no idea where that would go. We certainly can ask our basketball people, but I don't think the draft, any rookie that they draft is going to have any bearing on LeBron. I'll say it again, LeBron staying or going. It's going to be what veteran players can they bring in, and they don't have a whole lot of room to do a whole lot with that.
No, they don't, and so now it becomes interesting in looking at the two biggest names in the current offseason right now and the way that they've gone about this and how we perceive that. If there's any reason to perceive LeBron James and the Cavaliers having to sort of operate in the dark here, right, as opposed to, for all that's been said about Kawhi and the Spurs, him and at least his camp letting the Spurs know their intentions well before the draft so they can make decisions leading up to this important time of year. Is there value in one line of doing things over the other here?
Well, Kawhi has made his intentions clear. You're right. But again, it's up to the Spurs as to whether or not they want to allow those intentions to go forward. I mean, the Cavs did it last year.
Yes, they did.
The Cavs did it last year by letting Kyrie go. And we'll see if that happens indeed with Kawhi, who has made it pretty clear he wants to go to Los Angeles. Coming up, we will take a closer look at the two perhaps most interesting prospects in the NBA draft who rewrote record books, each one of them on a different side of the Atlantic Ocean.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030. Is your home an ADT home? If not, you have to get ADT and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. For a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate.
With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, as it indeed is draft day. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and give us a call, 860-506-5505. Who do you want your team to draft? Who do you think is going to be the most transcendent star?
There you go.
English, I'm told the words are hard. Let us know who you think is going to be the breakaway star in this year's NBA draft. Give us a call at 860-506-5505, and we'll have those for you a little bit later. But it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. And there's a couple of players we're trying to get the Straight Talk on, and we're not really sure about it. One of those will be the guy that's been rumored to be the number one pick, but it looks like he's not going to be now, Luka Doncic, who's coming over from playing from Real Madrid, and our own friend Fashilla with a very deep dive on what Luka is and maybe what he isn't, guys.
What he's doing in Europe is unprecedented. Think about this, guys. Since September 2016, he's played in 150 professional basketball games. And I would venture to say if the opponents he played against played college basketball, the opponents probably would have won 140 times and lost 10. So he's playing at a unique level. I see him as a high-level NBA starter, sometimes all-star. I don't necessarily see him as a transcendent player, but he's a very, very precocious, talented, great mind for the game, outstanding passer, good, not great NBA athlete, shooter, but has to work on it. Only shot 33% from three over the last 2 years. He's talented, but I'm going DeAndre Ayton all day long at number one.
Okay, so that was Fran on Freddie and Fitzsimmons. It seemed like a mixed bag.
It really did, because at first he was saying, okay, dude's been playing pro since 16 and playing against guys that if they were college guys would basically have an unbelievably great record, so basically better than college players. And this guy's player of the year, you know, and this guy is playing incredibly well. Then on the other side saying, well, he's not the greatest NBA athlete of the world, you know, could be a sometime all-star. The way he was building that up, I thought he was going to say this guy's going to come in and take the world by storm, especially at 6'8", and handling the ball the way he does. So I agree. That was kind of a mixed message going on there.
I mean, to me, the comp there sounds like a less athletic Ben Simmons with a jumper. Like this seems like who that guy is, a big guy who can bring the ball up the way he can, who can distribute to that level, isn't going to wow you at the rim, but you talk about the guys that he has gone up against those kind of players. One specifically that everyone recognizes is Kristaps Porzingis. I know he said he wants to dunk on Kristaps in the NBA, but there are plenty of highlights of them, and you go and you watch the draft highlights of these guys, and you see a lot of it is Luka going toe-to-toe with Kristaps Porzingis and getting buckets and getting space and getting to the rim against an NBA caliber player and guy who is a rim protector in New York. So he's got that capability. Yeah, he's not going to blow you away athletically, but again, we talk about this in the NFL draft all the time, drafting best available versus need or fit or any of these things like that. Luka Doncic is the perfect fit for today's NBA. You've got all this upside and all these other tools that you can use with these other guys. It's just a matter of how does that fit in today's league in a way that wins you something meaningful.
But if you're hearing those words from Fran Fraschilla, are you more excited or are you less excited? Because he, like you said, he went on all this stuff. He did this and this. He's a okay NBA player. I mean, he'll be an occasional all-star.
I think he'll be a little better than okay, but
not transcendent.
I was waiting for a little more than that. So I was, and that's the thing about it is, even those of us, who are basketball fans, you can get a handle on the other guys, who played in college because we got to watch them. Luka Doncic, we see highlights. I mean, it's not like we can flip on the channel and watch his game. Correct. So you have to rely on the Fran Fraschillas and what others are saying about him, where the other players, at least that we can form our own opinion by seeing them firsthand and playing in their game. So I was a little surprised where that went, and I don't know if it would make me out because Fran he is supposed to be that overseas player guy that checks him out and really knows what's going on with them, and that I'm not gonna lie, gave me a little bit of pause
because he didn't give us a comp in the NBA.
Right.
I mean, we sat here yesterday and kind of ripped on those guys for comparing themselves to current NBA players. But if Luka had come out and just branded himself by saying, "I think I'm like so and so,"
I want an analyst to do that.
Or if Fran had done that, we'd have felt more comfortable. So I guess I'm trying to not necessarily excuse because the more I thought about it, I'm with you. Like comparing yourself to other guys is a bit misguided. But those comps do serve a purpose because for all of us who have a hard time understanding those overseas guys, when you don't get something like that, all of a sudden you get that reaction, right?
I agree in giving us a comp. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the player giving himself a comp or that Fran Fraschilla giving us a comp is going to help his draft status. I guess that's my point.
But you're saying it's changing people. Does it change your reaction based on hearing what you hear from Fran?
It may change my reaction, but the bottom line, my point has always been, it doesn't change the reaction of those who make the picks.
Well, yeah, no, I mean
that's what I mean. No, but I mean that's my point. When you're making those comparisons, I say, why are you making those comparisons? It's not, why do I need to hear that? Because it's not doing anything for your draft status.
For this reason, so that no one comes on and publicly questions, oh man, is this guy really going to have the impact that we think he can because we all of a sudden haven't compared him to the right people?
We're going to disagree on that. I don't agree with that.
Well, I mean, I think you do. Like
I don't agree with you because you're talking about the regular person. I'm talking about the decision makers. It's not influencing
that's why I'm saying,
the decision makers.
That's why I'm saying you agree with my point that this does have an impact on the regular person, so there is value in those comparisons.
No, there's no value to it. It can influence my thought, but what's the value? What's the value to it? It doesn't matter what my value or my thought is, and just because I say that on national radio and TV isn't going to change a GM's mind. My point is, to the decision makers, it means nothing. To us,
hey!
To us, it can. It certainly can form my opinion, but my opinion doesn't matter.
And if it forms a larger opinion, then that can affect things off the basketball court for you. Dollars and cents, if the perception around you is all of a sudden, you know what, maybe this guy isn't really a star or someone we can buy into.
Take care of
maybe
that.
This guy isn't someone that we can market in this
not
way.
Not buying it.
I'm just telling you, it affected the way that you thought about this enough to where there's value in that alone. If it's shaping conversation, right, wrong, or indifferent, there's value in that.
All right, I don't. We're going to disagree on that one.
By the way, thanks. I just got a little power nap. I appreciate
it. You did,
that.
huh?
That was wonderful.
I really did that for you, Trey. You were dragging a little bit this morning. You helped me a lot with my swing yesterday.
We're all in this together.
By
the way,
you gave him a lot of chance to tweet over there.
If you want
to say that one more time,
if you want a comp as a reference, Chauncey Billups says the comp for Luka is Joe Johnson, 6'7", 240, 7-time All-Star. So is Joe Johnson enough for you to take this guy in the top 3? That's the next question.
Wow.
If that's the comp, Is that the guy you want taken with the top 3 pick?
Joe Johnson, was he changing a franchise?
I don't think so.
I mean, that's what you're looking for
Right.
up at the top, aren't you?
Exactly right. I mean, that to me is the big thing. If you got to get a top 3 guy, it has to be a guy that's going to steer this franchise in a different direction. And can we say that Joe Johnson has done that?
Well, no, but Joe Johnson also came along in a different time in the NBA when he came into it. Now,
this kid fits more the NBA of what the NBA is. I agree
Luka
with that.
Doncic is coming into is a little more conducive to his skill set. I would say that, but you're right. Joe Johnson was by no means a franchise alterer other than altering payroll at every stop he went to.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Here with the bank.
By the way, we'll have a lot more on the draft coming up a little bit later. Mike Schmitz, our ESPN draft analyst, will join us at 7:30. Dan Dockich will be here at the start of the 8 o'clock hour to talk about, a very difficult putt he made while doing a radio interview, and something else that's going on with the NBA draft as well. Mina Kimes, as you mentioned, Junior, will be with us a little bit later. And Kobe Jones, a former member of the U.S. national team, midfielder, will join us to talk about the World Cup, and we'll see if he can figure out whether Bruce Arena or Taylor Twellman is right and why things aren't going well for the U.S. and trying to build our soccer. And that is all Straight Talk, by the way, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. We'll get into the player who rewrote history books on this side of the Atlantic, too, and the comparison the comp that's being used with him, which is very interesting. Plus, I'm a little nervous about this.
You should be.
The best paragraph in the history of ESPN.com, according to Junior. I have no idea where this is going. I'm a little concerned. I'm also frightened.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
All right, we've taken a turn here. We'll get to what we were going to talk about.
It tends to happen on this show.
The best paragraph in ESPN.com history, according to my son. We'll get to that at some point. Yeah. But we put up at Golic and Wingo on Twitter, is there anyone else in the world you'd rather be than Cristiano Ronaldo? Again, he scored all the goals for Portugal in the World Cup. They're 2-0. Things are going well. He's a pretty good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Makes a whole lot of money.
Does things very well for himself.
He's kind of the man.
He's got it all going on.
Is there anyone else in the world you'd rather be? And the absolute first tweet we got was Craig. He said, to be honest, I'd rather be Ron Jeremy. Now, for those that are saying who, Ron Jeremy was a very, very famous porn star. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're at work, do not look him up.
Yes.
Turn off safe search if you do that.
Do not Google him.
Just not even anything. Not even moderate safe search. Just turn it all the way off.
So he is a porn star, to which immediately Trey said, I've got a great Ron Jeremy story. And I said, well, obviously not for air. And you said, no, it is. So your name's on the show, so that means you're allowed to, you get a little bit of leeway here, so go ahead.
Also, worth noting, kids are out of school now, so we've got no more parents carpooling on the way. We're in the clear right now.
We're good. Go ahead. Ron Jeremy story.
You know, my first job in the business, I was a page at Summerbook. I was a page at NBC.
Yes, you were.
Which meant you gave guided tours of the building. You worked on shows like Saturday Night Live or the David Letterman Show. Well, one of the responsibilities is you give out the tickets in the lobby for Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
People come by and claim their tickets. So I was working in the little booth there, and this woman comes up to me and says, yes, I have tickets for Saturday Night Live. And I'm like, okay, what's your name? And she gave me her name, and they weren't there under her name. And she said, oh, you know what? My brother left them for me. They might be under his name. What's his name? And she said, well, his name is Ron Jeremy. And I looked at her and said, Ron Jeremy? That name sounds really familiar to me. How do I know that name? Is he Ron Jeremy? She looked at me and goes, he's an adult film star. And I just went, here's your tickets. Here's your tickets, man.
It was her brother.
It was her brother.
Really?
But I'm like, oh yeah, I know that name. I know that name. How do I know Ron Jeremy? He's an adult film star.
He's a porn star.
And I just covered it. Here are your tickets, ma'am. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Okay.
That was it.
Very quickly. Trey enjoys the whole catalog.
Yes.
Not just the hits.
Oh, my goodness. It was a long time ago.
Wow.
Let's move on to the best. Let's move on to the most interesting paragraph in ESPN.com history, please.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Let's be careful with the word long, too.
Oh,
now.
Okay.
Oh, hey now.
Anyway, the most interesting paragraph in ESPN.com history was written yesterday.
Yeah, it has to do with the Fanatic store, right? As you're talking about,
yes,
correct?
The Philly
Philly Fanatic shoots hot dogs out of the
hot dog
cannon.
Yeah, hot dog cannon.
It's by the way, a story in and of itself that they've got a hot dog cannon.
It's fantastic. And they have to wrap the hot dogs in duct tape so they don't disintegrate when you shoot them out of the cannon.
Which means they're a little bit more of a projectile.
That's exactly right. So this, do you want to do your paragraph yet, or do you want me to say what happened?
Yeah, I'd like you to stop stealing from the paragraph that I'm going to read before I read it. So anyway.
Is there a comp for this paragraph? I just want to know.
Not yet. We're working on the comp right now. More of a range than anything else, but this is how they described what was going on with the Fanatic in the park. Using his customary launcher, the Fanatic sent a hot dog to fans behind home plate where Kathy McVeigh was sitting, battling a shoulder injury that will require surgery. McVeigh was unable to catch or deflect the hot dog, which was wrapped in duct tape so it wouldn't disintegrate upon launch.
Yeah.
All of that is real. All of that is a real paragraph that was on the front page of .com for me this morning. Baffled. Hot dog disintegration. The Philly Fanatic, the picture below it, throes of ecstasy behind the wheel of this hot dog cannon.
I would love to shoot a hot dog cannon. And again, you could see why they have to wrap it in duct tape, because it would just explode. It would never even make it into the stands, or you'd have hot dog shrapnel everywhere if you didn't wrap the thing. So she did. She had a bad shoulder, couldn't get her hand up to catch it, hit her right in the face. Now,
she got dotted.
Yeah,
she got dotted. She has a black eye. I'm looking at the picture right now.
She has a black eye. She's not, there's no lawsuit here. She's a big fan. She's not going to take any legal action. She did knock her glasses off. She had to put ice on and such, but how about that? Getting hit by a hot dog cannon.
I have a small hematoma in my eye, McVeigh said, and mostly it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's going to go down the side of my face. The Phillies have reached out to her on Twitter to apologize. They've offered her tickets to a future game when she wants to return. And she has a simple fan. Just be aware, because you never know. I understand a baseball, but not a hot dog. So, which part of that paragraph did he just totally steal your thunder on the disintegration?
Fair amount of it. Yeah, the disintegration line was really that was really the coup de grace.
That's my fault. I take responsibility for that. She did say it gives people a good laugh, and if that makes somebody chuckle, then that's fine. She's a good sport about it.
Absolutely.
And wise advice too. And her assessment of the situation was succinct, but I think spot on. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and hard.
Well, so I'd just like to wrap up maybe the oddest segment in the history of ESPN Radio.
Man, are you going to have a meeting after this show?
With the simple fact that somehow, some way, we got a hot dog launcher and Ron Jeremy in the same segment.
Wow, I never even thought of that.
Go figure.
Sounds more like a nickname than a headline.
There you go.
Wow.
Summerbook.
America, we're sorry. But not really.
I don't know if there's a way to regroup from
this,
so we're going to have to give it a shot.
You know what we'll do? We'll do a story about an apology after that apology.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So we'll get to that a little bit later and see if that works any better. Plus, we'll have more comps. We've got more comps.
Wow.
We've got comps on comps. All I know, if it's comped, I want it. We're coming back. Stay with us.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Listen up, people. We got a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take too much of your time. You know our show's supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to ESPNpodcaststudy.com and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. No more. Again, that's ESPNpodcaststudy.com. Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News as we try to recover from the last segment of the last hour. Glad you're with us. Presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You can get in touch with the show, 860-506-5505. We have a question out there. Who would you rather be than Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yeah,
leave us a voicemail there.
He's on fire right now, and as Trey mentioned, the end of the last hour got going a little bit, and if you're joining us now going, gosh darn it, you have the podcast.
Yeah, go check out the first hour of the podcast.
Unless that gets wiped clean with bleach from the
Bleach bit? Is that what they're going to use?
They may. By the way, today the draft obviously today. I'm very excited. We're heading to Pinehurst today.
We are. We're heading down there.
We pulled off the leadership retreat.
Yeah, this is the end of
Golic and Wingo leadership retreat.
Unreal. We pulled this thing off.
I don't know how they fell for
The
it.
company is paying for us to go golf.
Yeah.
It's the end of our elaborate ruse, guys. We made it all. We kept waiting. I kept waiting for them to finally send us the email. Like, all right, guys, we can't actually do this.
It sounded good radio bit, but you're not going anywhere.
And we've already gotten some Twitter pictures from one of the winners who got down there yesterday.
Again, we had 3 winners to this, and they each brought 2 people. So Trey will be with a foursome. So will I. So will Mike. And Stu Gatz is going to meet us down there and be part of the show tomorrow. And then we're golfing Pinehurst number 2.
Yeah, I just...
It's stunning.
How this worked out, again, for those that weren't with us, Stu Gatz joins us. Is he not joining us today? Is he
No, because he's with us for like 2.5 hours.
Tomorrow, that's enough. We don't need him 2 days in a row.
That is completely
there
fair.
you go.
That's a very great point.
Mm-hmm.
So on his weekly hit with us, because the Levitar show comes on after we do, he was like, Trey, when are we going to go play golf? I want to play music and do all this stuff. And I'm like, you're good with the music, bro. I'm good with the music on the card. I just packed my speaker, by the way.
There you go.
We'll have a good time. And he said, I said, yeah, we'll have the company pay for it, and we'll make it like a corporate retreat.
Yeah.
And then my friend Alex, who works at Pinehurst, chimed in, come have it at our place.
Unreal. I mean,
and
again,
boom.
Pinehurst wants us there.
Yeah.
Biggest mistake of their lives.
Yeah.
We're going to leave there, and we won't get out of there fast enough for them. So we're playing Pinehurst 2 tomorrow, and then Saturday morning we're playing the Cradle, the par 3 course, which is just a ball to play with the winners who are being flown in from all across the country. We'll meet with them tomorrow. It's fantastic.
It'll be the only thing I'm upset with is they're there and we're here.
Yeah, that's
right
true.
Now, right? They're getting the extra time at Pinehurst. Yeah. And we're here soaking in Yard Goats paraphernalia and enjoying Dunkin' Donuts Park being ranked the number 1 AA ballpark for the second year in a row.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
So we're all looking forward to that. Excited for the Yard Goats and Dunkin' Donuts Park. Excited for our winners who are down there finding the creative places that I'm going to vomit on the course.
There you go.
We're excited to get there later today.
Well, actually, there's no rough, so off the fairway, it's natural vegetation and sand.
Those
so
could be some natural things going
puke away in there.
On.
Bury it like a cat.
No problem. And this segment is now going off the rails. Let's start with what's trending. The NBA draft is tonight at 7 on ESPN, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. A storyline to keep in mind, the Knicks are apparently among the ever-growing list of teams making a late push for wingspan guy Mo Bamba.
Yeah, Mo Bamba right now in the latest draft is looking projected to go number 4 to Memphis. Memphis reportedly shopping the pick. And a number of teams, including the Knicks, interested in that. The only thing with that pick, everybody has to understand, forward Chandler Parsons, you got to take him as well.
Yep.
Okay? He's got bad knees and 2 years and about $50 million left on his contract, so take that one as well, but then you can get the number 4 pick, and if the Knicks would do that or whatever team may do that, Mo Bamba is again, one of these centers. 4 out of the top 5 ranked players are these tall centers who obviously are not really centers, and you almost feel like you have to change the name of the position for what they're able to do from shooting threes to playing in the paint.
Reminds me a lot of a young Kristaps Porzingis, real long range.
Yeah.
Not going to take the bait on the comp joke?
No,
there?
I'm not.
Wasn't for
I'm
you?
not. I just was letting you go.
All right, that's a fair point. But an interesting idea that you would pair 2 guys of that size together. Now, Kristaps Porzingis, a guy who we know has got some of that inside-out game to him, can put it on the deck in the way a lot of these modern bigs can. But adding that kind of length and athleticism to a lineup that already has that in the middle, I mean, Porzingis, a capable ring protector as well,
would be something.
would be an
Those 2
interesting
guys,
note.
Yeah.
Again, his wingspan is 7'9".
The record.
The largest ever recorded. And for those that know the draft and know Jay Billis, your drinking game is going to be on point. Because he uses wingspan
tonight.
all the time, and you may not make it through the Mo Bamba pick.
Yeah.
If you play the Jay Billis, you play the Jay
have
Billis.
the whole
drinking
handle
game.
ready at that point.
Just have the handle on the bottle because it is coming, baby. And then the Yankees continue to do what they've done all season long. When they're down, they get back up again. With 2 outs and a runner on second in the bottom of the 9th, Yankee slugger Giancarlo Stanton connected on a rope that went out to give the Yankees a 7-5 come-from-behind win. They were down 5-0 in this game, guys.
Sitting, again, best record by percentage in the game, sitting at 49 wins. The Red Sox also at 49 wins. Stanton did it on an 0-2 count. It's his 4th walk-off home run, and entering the game, he was only batting 115 with an 0-2 count with 18 strikeouts in those amount of at-bats. So hadn't been going well. Roped this one out. One of those that just a no-doubter once it went off his bat.
You knew right away. Anytime you have the Yankees playing, a conversation on the broadcast about exit velocity is sure to follow.
Yes.
They were doing exit velocity for hits in the normal infield by Aaron Judge earlier in the game. But with this one, you saw the immediate reaction from the Mariners pitcher, by the way, too. As soon as you see one of those two giants peel one off at the plate, you know exactly where that thing is coming down, and it ain't ending in a place where you've got a dub in the column.
You're exactly right. And it was the Yankees' 23rd comeback win of the season, the most in the majors. Again, they were down 5 runs in this game. And add this one to the list of bizarre baseball
Here we
injuries.
go.
Cubs closer Brendan Morrow is injured because of his pants.
Yeah. So he was returning from home from a team's road trip to St. Louis early on Monday morning. And as he said, it was about 3 a.m., and he said, I was just undressing at my house in the closet, got my right leg off, left one and as the left one was coming out, just felt a spasm in my back.
Yep.
So he was undressing, taking his pants off, spasm in his back. He's on the 10-day DL.
I guarantee I know what happened in this, too. He tried to do the thing where you don't reach down and actually take the pants off on your own, and that seems counterintuitive, but he tried to do the thing where you shimmy it off with your foot, and you end up falling over. And the bottom line is we get to add this to the storied list of baseball injuries that have kept guys off. Now missed time. I mean, he's obviously mortified by this, but how can you account for a rogue pair of pants?
Here's the thing. Do you think of something else to say? I mean, he's alone in his closet, and that's what happened. So the only person that knows it happened was him. So when you get to the ballpark, can't you make up something else? Is that really what you want to go with?
Well, look, you can do – I know a guy that threw out his back once by sneezing. Yeah. I once was down to play in a Pro-Am in Williamsburg, Virginia, and got up out of bed and threw my back out. So it is completely possible.
But would you admit it? So he has to go – he has to tell someone. He has to tell his team, I have back spasm. He's on the DL. So would you try and make up a story that at least it makes it sound a little better than knowing you're going to go on the list of crazy injuries in baseball?
You know what? The truth will set you free in this one. And the last thing you want is people thinking, oh, man, did he do this going out was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be? No, he was in the comfort of his own home. He was doing what we all try and do, put our pants on or take them off one leg at a time, and he couldn't quite do it like that.
Wow. Couldn't quite pull off the pants. So there you go. Congratulations. But again, it's still not the weirdest baseball injury. That still belongs to Glenn Allen Hill, who was having a nightmare that he was bitten by spiders and went through a plate glass window. That is the all-time great.
I don't know if it's the all-time great. Who was the pitcher that burned himself? He was ironing his shirt while wearing it?
Well, that's just stupid.
Oh, okay.
That's just all kinds of dumb.
I mean, we'll have to do it at some point. I mean, it's been done 1,000 times, is the crazy injuries in baseball. But again, you know, we have time.
I will go with arachnophobic nightmare through a plate glass window every time.
I mean, Trevor Bauer drone injury has got to be a nice recent entry into this one. That one came about in a playoff series, for God's sake.
The drone injury.
Trevor Bauer got injured, his finger playing with his drone.
Right.
He's out there with a stitched up finger, bleeding all over the place because he was playing with his drone on the off day.
Yeah.
Rule number 1, no drone play.
No,
Golic and Wingo is presented by Progressive's Home Insurance. Getting a quote is easier than ever. And on the eve of the NBA draft, you guys had a great discussion earlier, which I was appreciative because I got a 6-minute nap, about comps and whether comps of players matter to general managers or fans more. I have a suggestion that may clarify this discussion that you guys had.
Okay.
Because you guys were on opposite end of the spectrum on this. Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is a quarterback that was taken number 1 overall by the Cleveland Browns. Now, he's smaller in stature.
Right.
So there's really only been 3 quarterbacks that have been successful at his size in the NFL. Michael Vick, who had blazing speed.
Yes, he did.
Russell Wilson, who has decent speed and is very elusive.
Great athlete.
And Drew Brees.
Right.
So basically, the history of quarterbacks at 6 feet or under, that's the list. That's the entire list of those that have been extremely successful. So as a comp, you had to look at Baker Mayfield and say, he's either going to be that guy or that guy. Does that clarify this for you at all?
Or none of those guys.
Correct.
Okay. I kind of think we're saying the same thing, but I'm just looking at a different group.
Hey, how long is this going to go? Can I take another nap?
You can go ahead and tweet something.
Thanks.
I think it may help the fans get a picture, but it's going to do nothing for anybody's draft position. I guess I'll put it that way. Decision makers, it means nothing to hear an analyst say he reminds me of this.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think it does, because I think GMs have to decide, can he be this kind of player? Can he be that kind of player at that size?
Well, us saying, who are we saying he's like? Are analysts saying that or GMs saying that?
Well, I think they have to. I think GMs, when they're look, we know the measurables. You get their hand size, you get all this kind of stuff.
Here's my point.
Yeah.
This is my point. I'll make it very easy.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, you played 9 years in the NFL, so you're an NFL analyst. So here's this guy. What do you think? Well, I think Baker Mayfield can be like Drew Brees. Okay, that may help the general public kind of envision what this might be. But me saying that, there's no GM out there. This is my point. That's going to go, oh, Golic thinks he could be the next Drew Brees. I'm upping him on the draft board. That's my only point. It may help the general fan out there get kind of a picture in their mind of what they think this player could be or not be, but it's not doing anything for the decision makers. That's my only point of this.
But I mean, decision makers also, I think, to make decisions, do they not use comps at certain
points? They very well may, but they'll comp it and trust their own comp, not mine. I'm really getting specific here about analysts making comparisons that influence decision makers. If decision makers want to do it, that's how they make their decisions, so be it. But me doing it doesn't do a damn thing. Or any basketball analyst out there saying this person reminds me of this player is not, making a GM go, aha, I'm going to take him because of that. That's my only point.
Well, yeah, then we're saying the exact same thing. My point was always that it matters in the court of public opinion, and we've seen more lately than ever that public outcry and public opinion on something can have a bigger effect than we had ever given credit for.
The most important thing is it took you guys 6 minutes to say the exact same thing, so I'm good.
Pretty much.
Got another nap.
Okay.
Speaking of court of public opinion,
yes,
let's sound off on the Phil Mickelson apology. Sound off is brought to you by ADT. Considering home security, consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. Visit ADT.com to learn more. So, 4 days after Phil Mickelson used the rules to his advantage or disadvantage, depending on which rule we're talking about in golf, which may be part of the problem here, he has issued a full apology. He says, I know this should have come sooner, but it's taken me a few days to calm down, Phil said in a statement. My anger and frustration got the best of me last weekend. I'm embarrassed and disappointed by my actions. It was clearly not my finest moment, and I'm sorry. For those that have been living somewhere else that don't know what we're talking about, Mickelson on the 13th green at the U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills had a putt, and he was well out of contention. Had a putt, was about to roll off the green, and he sort of lumbered over to stop it and make a stroke while it was moving. And then, of course, afterwards he was defiant, saying, hey, I've had this penalty I've wanted to use for a while, a two-stroke penalty. I knew what the rule was, and if you have a problem with it, toughen up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. And that did not go over well, especially when Ian O'Connor, who did a great job for us on ESPN.com, talked about his playing partner and the standard bearer, the guy that holds the scores of the group. Basically, they both heard Phil say to the scores official, I have no idea what I'm going to get on that. Just give me that. So what he said after the round didn't jibe with what he was saying at the time. And golf, of course, of its rules, nature, and the integrity of the game, blah, 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 went nuts. Is this over? Are we done? Are we moving on now?
Well, I think it's actually an interesting representation of what we were just talking about with what the people on the inside feel and think about something versus what the effect of the conversation surrounding it on the outside. Because you mentioned golf lost his mind. A lot of it seemed to be the world around golf media, former golfers maybe even that fall into that, but people that operate just outside of that inner circle. Because I know we've heard from now Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth, guys who are inside the machine still, who don't seem to share the same outrage.
Well, let's to that point. I have a theory on that. Let's hear what Rory had to say.
Honestly, I laughed. I thought there was a massive overreaction to it. I mean, knowing Phil, he knew what he was doing. It's a tournament that Phil's come so close to winning over the past few years. He's probably seen what's happened over the past few years at that tournament, and it's frustrated him because it's the only one that he hasn't won. Plus, it's probably becoming the hardest one to win for anyone because it is a bit of a lottery at times. So I don't know if I'd go to the lengths that he went to make a statement like that, but I thought there was a massive overreaction.
Well, there's two things there. I think what Rory is alluding to is what a lot of golfers will say privately and maybe not say publicly, which was, yeah, I wouldn't have done that, but maybe we're all just need to take a step back.
Well, listen, I tweeted immediately. I thought it was an unbelievable overreaction. And let me ask you this question. Yeah. You're the golfer of the group.
Now you guys play. I showed you video. You did.
Whatever. If he had come out right after and said what he said for his apology, said that right after, would this be over?
It would. Yes, it would have. I think it would have lanced the boil.
To my point earlier was his cover-up was worse than the action.
Well, yes and no. Yeah, but you're right. It was an egregious violation.
It was, but if he came out and said frustration, we all knew.
Yes, exactly.
Frustration, it would have been okay.
It would have made it a lot better.
You know what? He's human. It got the best of him. We all move on.
Right.
He didn't say that, so it intensified to one of three things happened. You got to believe it hung on longer than he thought.
Yep.
So three things: his people who endorse him got on him a little bit. He really, truly realized what he did was dumb, and he got caught in what he said and what he said, which was different. Or his wife said, "Phil, you're an idiot. Apologize. It was dumb what you did." So probably one of those things.
Yeah, probably one of those. And the first two in that kind of reinforce the idea public opinion does matter for something, because if it starts to blow back on your dollars and cents, that becomes real. And more importantly, the members of the media who come out with this outrage to start give everyone else. I mean, that's the way groupthink works, which is most people who are not experts in something look to experts. They look to analysts. They look to people in the media for an opinion that they can take and give to somebody else. So you have this domino effect that starts with someone in a position of power putting out an opinion that we hear may not be shared by the actual guys that everyone's saying, oh, this is going to affect the way his peers think about him. This is going to be a mark on his legacy. When in reality, it doesn't really sound like that for everybody.
Well, I think there are two things there. One, I think, look, Phil is not just an average player. He's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
He's one of the best ever. He's got 5 majors. He's won 42 times on the PGA Tour. Those are insane numbers, especially those numbers in the Tiger Woods era. I mean, that to me, that puts those numbers in an even different category, because if Tiger Woods didn't exist, Phil may have 13 majors and 60 wins, okay? So I think his stature in the game amplified the mistake more than anything else. But to your point, Junior, I think that Phil knew that he played this very well. He has this thing where people see him as, hey, that's Phil. He's like us. They go out there and hack it up on the weekends. And he knew that would work in his favor with the public opinion, not with the opinion of people inside the media world or inside the golf's inner circle. And Tony Kornheiser on PTI, who, by the way, is a avid golfer and a huge golf fan, alluded to that as much, saying, hey, maybe I didn't gauge how this was going to be reacted by people besides me and Gus and guys inside this tight inner circle of golf.
It has two specific failings to me. One is it should have come much sooner. And two is that it did not really acknowledge his place in golf hierarchy. He's not just another guy. He's got 5 major championships. He's a Hall of Fame player. And the standards for him are a little bit higher than they are for anybody else. It's interesting to me. I do a podcast, as you know, because you've been on it. And at the end of the podcast, I read email from people. They crushed me on Phil Mickelson because I was very tough on Phil Mickelson, and they crushed me on that. Somehow he has become, with all of the money he has made, he has become the blue-collar darling of golf. People really like this. I thought the other day, when I saw it in real time, I thought it would stain him. I do not think that anymore. And I would tell you that other pro golfers, they have not lined up and condemned him at all. They haven't done it. I think he was wrong, but I think I have misread my own reaction. He's been crushed by the media, not by other golfers.
And I think that's a fair point.
It is fair. And you wonder, when you're playing with someone, though, Mike, are you a little less apt to crush someone while you're still playing? So I think the players of today still think what he did was wrong, but I don't know how far they would go in condemning Phil like some of the former golfers have done.
Yeah, and but to me, it all still seems so nonsensical. I mean, what do we do and sit around here every week when a golf tournament comes up? We wonder, what the hell's Tiger going to do in this tournament? How's this going to go? We're going to talk about a dark mark on someone's resume when we just completely ignore a much greater impropriety that we were privy to from the personal world of Tiger Woods. We have left that so far in the distance in favor of our thirst for him to be great that we act like if Phil goes out and is in contention for a tournament, we would ever bring this up again.
And here's
it'll move on. I think we'll move on.
That's what I mean. Like, if without this apology, we still would have moved on.
But here's a comparison. You talk about Tiger's personal life to something that happened on the golf course with Phil. Look at the Hall of Fame. Check out the character. We could do all the time about the Hall of Fame of some of those guys off the field.
Yeah, that's a different dynamic.
And then my point is a comparison. Look at what Terrell Owens went through to get in the Hall of Fame, and it was because it was on the field. Oh, my God, he wasn't a good teammate. Dude balled to Hall of Fame numbers. But you know what? He wasn't good in the locker room. While you got women beaters in the Hall of Fame that you don't really bring that up. Because but on the field, God forbid you disrespect that game on the field like Phil did on the putting green.
Look, I think the bigger issue here is that golf needs to have clarity of the rules, because the one rule that they used for a 2-stroke penalty was he hit a moving ball. But the other rule that they could have DQ'd him for was stopping a ball from moving. Okay, those are two different things, and they could have applied either one. The moving ball rule is usually, let's say, in your backswing or something, your foot moves and the ball moves as you're hitting it, like it's on pine straw. That's really the two-stroke moving ball penalty. Stopping a ball from rolling off the green is not the way that rule is supposed to be interpreted.
Trey, I appreciate your passion for this.
Yeah.
I am pretty sure you're the only one that cares about that part.
Me too. Yeah, you started going down that.
I respect it. Like that, you are speaking for that inner circle Tony was talking about.
I agree. But the whole thing of this was Phil's ridiculous explanation after. It had nothing to do with the rule or whether you got DQ'd or not.
Well, that's what got those on. But again, I think golf needs to figure this thing out. Okay, because we applied this rule, but you could have applied this rule, or you could have used this rule. If they didn't have. There's too many rules.
Yeah.
There's too many rules.
Too many rules. A, I don't play enough to care, and B, I don't follow the rules.
Yeah, it's a lot easier
By
when
the way,
you don't.
I can't confirm both of those things having played with you yesterday.
Boom.
Okay.
How easily do I pull another golf ball out of my pocket when I don't like the one I hit?
As the other one was still in the air, which I thought was very impressive. Coming up, we'll head to New York where the Phoenix Suns are on the clock. Would drafting a center in 2018 be a mistake? We'll get to that. Mike.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030. Is your home an ADT home? If not, you have to get ADT and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. For a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate.
With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can get in touch with us at 860-506-5505. We are ready to do our deep dive in the NBA draft, and we are in the zone with Mike Schmitz, our ESPN NBA draft analyst. In the zone, brought to you by AutoZone. AutoZone helps you do more with their free services and helpful, friendly advice. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Mike, thanks for being with us. First of all, we've been talking comps all morning, so your comp to most people that would know is Todd McShay. You are the Todd McShay of the NBA draft, so we've got that comp taken care of. And Mike brought up a really interesting point, Golic did. What is the comp in the NBA for Bamba? What are we looking at? Is there a comp in him that you see all right in the NBA right now?
I think best case for Mo Bamba is going to be Rudy Gobert with a jump shot.
Wow.
I think if everything pans out for him, now he's going to have to improve his motor, continue to play with more toughness. But in terms of having a 7'10" wingspan, being a guy who protects the rim, has an incredible rebounding radius, his ability to switch on the perimeter as well, and he's added that 3-ball working with Drew Hanlon out in L.A., done a great job with his pre-draft process. To me, he's the most intriguing prospect in this draft, just in terms of combination of length, fluidity, ability to protect the rim, and then eventually step out to that NBA 3.
Now, I would imagine you take the Rudy Gobert as your favorite this year for Defensive Player of the Year.
With a jump shot.
Exactly. So we've been talking a lot about the players at the top, and we certainly will with you, but where do you expect and where do you think the first trade may happen?
I think it's going to be a wild night. It's hard to predict something like that. There have been talks of, Dallas trying to move up to get their hands on Luka Doncic, the Slovenian sensation. I think Atlanta is probably fielding a lot of calls just because that number 3 pick is really valuable. So, I think we'll see what happens tonight. It's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen, but those are the teams that, have been talked about throughout this process.
All right, draft analyst Mike Schmitz is with us on Golic and Wingo this morning. Mike, that you mentioned Doncic, and he was a guy that was talked about maybe taking the first pick overall because the Suns have a guy on their staff that used to coach him. Now it looks like they're settled in on DeAndre Ayton. We had a long take from Fran Fraschilla earlier today that said, hey, he's playing against players that are much better than college players. He's got 3 years of pro experience. He's got all of this. But then he sort of said, I'm not sure he's a transcendent superstar. So what do you think people are getting in, as you called him, which, by the way, was really nice, the Slovenian sensation, Luka Doncic?
I think he has the highest floor in this draft. At the very worst case, he's going to be an outstanding NBA starter, borderline all-star, just because of his production. Like Fran said, he's already played 3 full seasons. He's the MVP of the second best league in the world. I mean, college basketball, while it's a great product and a great platform, doesn't really hold a candle to the EuroLeague. I mean, this really is the second best league in the world. 6'8", can make every pass out of pick and roll, can shoot it off the dribble. I think you could make an argument that he is the best prospect in this draft. To me, he's certainly the best player. I would still take DeAndre Ayton at number 1, but given his productivity at the age of 19 against guys like Kristaps Porzingis, Ricky Rubio, the Gasol brothers, Yvonne Fournier, and then some of the best players in the EuroLeague, we've seen it from him pretty much at every level, and he has somewhat of a star quality. So I think you're getting a guy who can have an impact right away and then has, still more room to grow.
Mike, which player, and we talk about this in every draft out there, has the potential to fall a little further than we thought?
I think the biggest question mark in this draft is going to be Michael Porter Jr. It's really going to come down to the medical for him. Every team is different in terms of how they view, the medical information they get. Every doctor is different. But this is a kid who was at one point the number 1 high school player in his class before Marvin Bagley reclassified. He's 6'11". He can shoot it on the move. He's a big-time scorer, and he fits in the modern NBA. But questions about the health. He played, very few minutes. I think 53 minutes during this past season.
Yeah, but they were a great 53 minutes.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit in that stretch also. So I could see him, maybe it's Cleveland at 8. Maybe it's further down than that, but he's the most interesting storyline in terms of where he goes because I believe his range is fairly wide.
All right, with that in mind, every time, I'm just looking at footage of Mo Bamba, and I just see those arms. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It's absolutely insane. Okay, if Porter was completely healthy, and you're the team that checks off that medical box, we think he's good to go. Talent-wise alone, how high would he go in this draft if there were no medical issues?
I think he's a borderline top 5 talent. To me, there's still a basketball question to be had about him, though. We've seen him dominate Nike EYBL. We've seen him at the FIBA Americas and Nike Hoop Summit Week. There was a time he was talked about as a potential number 1 pick, but we've seen players dominate that setting as well and then maybe get exposed a little bit in college. So I think there are still questions about, his ability to make others better, maybe a little bit of his toughness. But again, extremely talented, 6'11", can shoot on the move. It's hard to find a guy like that.
We saw Steph Curry go, number 7 in the draft and didn't see how great he would be, and now may go down as the greatest shooter in NBA history. And Trae Young is being compared to Steph Curry with his game. So how fair is that comparison, and where do you see Trae in this draft? He's another guy that I've seen in some projections falling out of the top 10.
Yeah, I think the comparison is fair in terms of the productivity, in terms of the style of play. Clearly the quick hitting threes, his ability to shoot it with, logo range, really. And I think he's probably the most underrated passer in this draft as well. He's as good of a passer as there is in this draft. So I think the comparisons are fair in some regard, but Steph Curry's development has been unique. And we're talking about arguably the greatest shooter of all time. He improved defensively. He improved his body. So, if Trae can become, 80% of that, then he's done an unbelievable job with his career. I think, anywhere from 6 to 12 makes sense. I think Orlando will give him a hard look at 6. They could really use a point guard. But there are 2 other point guards that, really are intriguing prospects in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and also Colin Sexton. So I could really see him going anywhere from 6 at Orlando to 12 with the Clippers. Talking
to Mike Schmitz, our ESPN NBA draft analyst, went to University of Arizona, so, likes that DeAndre.
There you go.
Number 1. We know that we just talked about a lot of the top names. Give us a name of a sleeper in your mind that we're going to be talking about in a few years.
I think it's Lonnie Walker from Miami. Now, he's not a, 30s or 40s pick. I could see him going just outside the lottery, but he's 6'5" with the near 6'11" wingspan. He's explosive, head at the rim type of athlete. He can shoot it on the move. He can defend 1s and 2s. And I think people are sleeping on him a little bit. He's going to be a much better NBA player than he was a college player. I think you really have to take into account each college situation when you're evaluating these guys, especially the one and dones. And his game is just built for the NBA. Like I said, every move he makes on the perimeter is an NBA move. So it's hard to find guys with athleticism, length, who can shoot it in a variety of ways.
Lonnie Walker projected in the latest mock draft to go number 12 to the Clippers.
And we'll see how that shakes out. Mike, we appreciate you getting up early with us this morning. It's going to be, as you said, a wild night, and we'll look forward to seeing what happens when the NBA draft gets going at 7 on ESPN, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. Mike, appreciate you being with us.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
As soon as this weather breaks.
Flip-flop Fridays, baby.
Are you kidding me? Thong Thursday?
Okay, no.
I mean, absolutely.
No.
Wear the thong.
People are eating.
Oil up.
Going to need to wear very little when we go to Pinehurst. It is 93 and humid.
Oh, please wear clothes.
Now.
That's I want to go back. Please wear clothes.
There will be no tan.
I want to go back.
Sports Center brought to you by Pennzoil. Right now, summer sports, full swing, baseball firing on all cylinders. Certain soccer tournament we're watching, and we're going to talk about in a second. Something you should be watching also is your vehicle's engine. That's why Pennzoil Synthetics gives you complete protection for top engine performance. Pennzoil, make the switch.
Hey! All right, time for a World Cup update. Let's go, baby.
All right, so first game starts, in about 10 minutes.
Denmark Australia.
So more importantly, that's me against you.
Aussie. Oi.
I have Denver. You have Australia.
You have Denver?
Denmark.
Okay.
You have Australia.
You don't have Denmark. Junior has Denmark.
Dot Clippers? Oh, I meant Junior. That's my fault.
Well, first of all, Denver's not in the tournament.
They're not.
And second of all, you don't even have Denver.
Mike has Denmark. You have Australia. 11 o'clock, France, Peru. I have France. The staff has Peru. And at 2 o'clock, the staff has Argentina against Croatia. That's my son. So right now, the standings, I'm in last place with 12 points. The staff has 13 points. Trey, you have 15 points. Mike and Devin are on the lead with 17 points.
They're unbelievable. By the way, Riley did a great job of research. She put out an email not only with the standings, but who everybody has.
Exactly.
And
that helps.
Do you have that email with everybody
I do.
Okay, look at the photos they took.
Yeah.
Okay? You look like you.
Yeah.
I look like me. The staff has the Golic and Wingo logo. Your son looks like DJ Khaled.
Well, they took that.
He looks
picture,
like DJ Khaled.
That picture of him right after he finished playing and started working here. It was about 3:10.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is not who he is anymore.
No, it's a full face.
I mean, that is a robust face.
And he also has less hair even than that on the top of his head right now.
That's the robust package we were talking about there. Hey! That will never get old.
No,
for us.
Not.
It might be for the viewers and the listeners, but it won't get old for us.
Go ahead. We're going to keep doing it.
Okay. So in a few days, the new Jurassic World movie comes out. It's today? Okay, it's out today.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I don't think this is a coincidence.
This is the person who, the Dr. Alan Grant, is spearheading a genetic research that could engineer dinosaurs back into existence.
No, that was the guy in the movie. Dr. Grant was the guy in the movie.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dr. Grant was what's his face, Sam Neill in the movie.
Sam Neill in the movie. Okay.
So the real doctor is Dr. Jack Horner.
He is consulted on all these Jurassic Park films, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All four of these films he is consulted on, and he believed the key to recreating the prehistoric creatures lied in the work with ancient DNA strands, blah, 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 blah. Basically, that's not a possibility anymore. But a group of scientists at Harvard and Yale have turned their eye to the modern-day chicken.
The chicken?
Yeah. And Horner says, of course, birds are dinosaurs, so we just need to fix them so they look a little more like a dinosaur.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
He thinks by doing something with chickens, we can recreate dinosaurs within the next 5 years.
So this is what they've done. In an attempt to reverse evolution.
Oh, that sounds like a really good idea.
Does not sound like a good idea. The team has already made significant strides in mutating chickens back to the very creatures from which they descended. So their reverse evolution, if that's not enough, Harvard scientists attempted a similar feat recently by inserting the genes of a woolly mammoth into elephants in order to recreate the extinct beast.
Did they have any success?
I don't know at this point.
I don't see that there.
I don't see. They said this all can become a reality within 5 to 10 years, especially the part with the chicken, on which they're calling the Chickensaurus.
The Chickensaurus. If the four major differences between dinosaurs and birds are their tails, arms, hands, and mouths, Dr. Horner believes he and his team have already flipped certain genetic switches in chicken embryos to reverse engineer a bird's beak into a dinosaur-like snout.
Why? Why are we doing this?
What's the line that Jeff Goldblum had? He was the doctor of, what was he, not hysteria, but craziness, whatever that word is that it was in the movie. But basically, he's saying chaos. He was a chaos doctor. That's what he was. He said you thought about whether or not you could do it, but you didn't think about whether or not you should do it.
Why would we do this?
Nature had their chance, right? That's the whole deal. They had their chance and they ran it. They got extinct. They're out. Why would we want to bring back things that could absolutely kill us?
See, and I love the movies. I'm going to watch it.
Absolutely going to watch it.
I love it because I always think, wow, that's unbelievable. What a great imagination. What great minds. Glad that could never happen. Oops.
Wait a minute.
Why would we think about recreating any kind of a dinosaur?
Well, that goes to the same thing with these people that are rushing to create these robots to do everything.
Yeah,
have
AI
they not
stuff?
seen Terminator?
Yeah, that's exactly
Skynet
right.
is apparently happening.
Yeah.
Maybe this is it. Maybe the only way to counteract artificial intelligence from taking over human beings is to bring back dinosaurs to crush the robots. Maybe that's the connection. Is that?
So we stay out of everything.
We stay out of it. We let the dinosaurs and the robots.
Dinosaurs come back and destroy the AI robots.
They go at it.
Okay.
Right? Doesn't that make the most sense?
You know what? If nothing else,
it
could be a great movie.
That would be a really, really good movie. So again, I just say one thing. Scientists, listen to Jeff Goldblum from the original Jurassic Park.
Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
There it is.
There you go.
There it is. Let's think this through. These things are big. They're carnivores for the most part. They will kill us.
Yeah, I don't know why we would do this. I'm against this whole thing. As the AI, the whole, the artificial intelligence, the robots, making them smarter. Don't need that.
The only thing that makes sense if somehow we can do this to counteract the artificial intelligence robots from Skynet. Then I'm in on this.
Okay, I can see it.
If the dinosaurs can stop Skynet from happening, and that's
But if they do that, then the dinosaurs, what do they do to us?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
Let's just say then we'll get Sarah Connor. I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. We'll get that thing straightened out. Coming up, is there a comp for DeAndre Ayton? What about Mo Bamba? Someone smarter than us will tell you. Then again, that's a very low bar to cross. Stay with us.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs!